If not, I'll call public comments to a close. We'll move up to agenda item number 5, Save the Hospital Council action. We have a bill here that is from Smith, Anderson, Blunt, Dorset, Mitchell, or Michael, and Jernigan. And the bill is for some of the setup costs for the ACO, the Accountable Care Organization that has to be used with the hospital. This bill has been outstanding for quite a while, and we need a motion from the council in order to pay this bill. We still have some money. I guess we're still into the good a little bit, 100,000. How much have we got left from? About 8 or 10 grand, isn't it? So we have some money from the foundation to pay this already in hand. We're also going to the foundation asking for additional monies. And I think Wednesday, I'll probably be writing another letter to the foundation for additional funds. Anyway, do we have a motion to approve the invoice?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Aye, second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. Next up, Save the Hospital discussion. I want to give a little bit of an update as to how things have been going. As everyone knows, we're now involved in a legal complaint, a lawsuit with Vidant, and that lawsuit has a main thrust of getting the building back. It's Vidant and the LLC are included in this complaint, and it also has to do with unfair trade practices that Vidant has been conducting business in, which seems to me to be undeniable. And there's other things as well that are in there. The eminent domain issue is mentioned in there. But what we're trying to do is get Vidant in a position where they will talk to us again. And I think we're getting close to that. We had court, I think since we've had a town council meeting, we had court in Wilson at the courthouse with Judge Toby Fitch presiding after we had reports that the LLC was going to cut the power off to the hospital property. With the power cut off, the mold and mildew would be let to go rampant, and basically we could have had a situation where a hospital could have been demolished by neglect. There was also a situation with a crane there one morning that we had to make some phone calls about, so we went ahead with the NAACP attorney and the town attorney and pursued an injunction. That was about the same time that the council ruled to do eminent domain. Judge Fitch awarded us an injunction for 10 days, and then we went back to court in Plymouth. When we went back to court in Plymouth, Vidant's attorneys decided they wanted to try to move the case to federal court. In my opinion, that was just a delay tactic. After they amended the original complaint, there is nothing in the complaint that has to do with anything federal. So Vidant basically tried to move us to federal court so that Judge Fitch couldn't rule on a temporary injunction to keep them off the hospital. But Judge Fitch, I think, saw through what they were doing and made them promise in court that they would not touch the building and they would continue status quo with the building until it's decided where the complaint will be heard. The attorneys are pretty sure the complaint is going to be heard in the Superior Court, our local Superior Court. So that will be something that will happen in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Some people may have heard about the news release that was sent out by Vidant where they encouraged Pantig Creek LLC to give the hospital property to the town. What Vidant and the LLC continuously do is make statements that aren't fully true. They have come to the town and offered to give the hospital back with certain conditions. Well, we have a situation where we feel like it's the town's hospital, it's the people's hospital anyway. So we don't think we should take it back unless the conditions are on the town's benefit. We also have a situation with Vidant where Vidant needs to work with us and they need to pay for the damages they've caused in our community. We are working through a couple of government agencies to obtain the money to start the hospital again, regardless of what happens with Vidant. And I think in the next 60 days or so, we'll have some solid information about our money. It's been very difficult at this time to get money because LLC associates or actual managers have actually made some phone calls and tried to undermine anything we do. Now with us getting possession of the hospital, we'll be able to get the money that we need to get going. That was another thing. Vidant and the LLC would always say, well, tell me about where your money is. Where's your money? And the whole time they know that without control of the building, it's about impossible to get money. We had, however, made some arrangements to get money even without having control of the building, but it would have been tighter than it will be now. So once again, we're in a position where things are getting better. I think we will get our hospital back soon, one way or the other, and then we'll continue pursuing the money it's going to take to get the hospital going again. We'll make a prediction that in the next 4 to 6 months we'll have a hospital open here again. But there's a lot of work because Vidant has not just closed our hospital. They've let some license go. They have taken equipment out of the hospital. They have destroyed the reputation of our hospital by talking about the building and how horrible it is and how we don't have any business. And those things have a lot of untruths to them. So anyway, I just kind of want to give an update. Now, on another issue, I want people to think about how big a deal it is what we're dealing with right now. I struggle daily trying to figure out how people could not be helping support saving the hospital every day. I completely and totally do not understand it. When they say that we don't have money to get the hospital open and running again, that's false. There is money out there and we'll have the money. So that's not an issue. They say, well, if we let Vidant go out of town, we're going to end up with no health care at all in time. Well, Vidant has already taken our health care. Last night I had a neighbor that had a mini stroke. We raced her down to the clinic. Well, guess what the clinic could do for her? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Now, how about if this lady had been having a stroke, a big stroke, and she's laying there and she's having seizures or whatever goes along with a stroke, and then she would have had to go through that condition for a half an hour until we got to Washington? As I followed the ambulance last night, I thought to myself, what would it be like to be in the back of the ambulance having a heart attack? They say it feels like an elephant sitting on your chest. An elephant sitting on your chest, you're in the back of the ambulance, and you know it's going to be a half an hour before you even get to the hospital. Now, last night, if our emergency room had been open, when we took my neighbor to the clinic, we would have been at the emergency room. And right then, they would have been doing the CAT scan and making sure she was taken care of. Instead, once again, you spend a half an hour. A half an hour with a stroke, with a heart attack, with a severe injury like an accident is a long time. I mean, I don't know if this is the best analogy, but it's like a football play and how fast a football play goes. Well, imagine a play going on for 30 minutes, something that's intense. Boxers box for 3 minutes and take a break. Well, having a heart attack is worse than a round of boxing. So imagine of having, instead of 3 minutes and a break, having 30 minutes to sit there with the elephant on your chest. This is a significant, serious thing. And remember our friends in Hyde County, our family members and friends in Hyde County. They've got a half an hour, 45 minutes at least, before they even get here. So they've got an elephant sitting on their chest for 45 minutes before they ever get to Belhaven. And then they've got another half an hour. It makes no sense for people not to get on board and help save this hospital. The hospital can be saved. The business plan has been vetted 3 different times. It's solid. There are programs out there that were not there in the past. We're talking about right-sizing the hospital. It is a no-brainer to be successful. We're going to get it back opened up, and it's going to be successful. It's 100%. And it's not Adam telling you. I'm telling you what the healthcare experts are telling me. The people that know what they're talking about. Now, you know, somebody down the street is complaining that the hospital, we don't need it. They don't know anything about the healthcare business. So I'm going to take the word of the people from Campbell, Carolina, Duke, the people who've been running rural hospitals for 20 years. I'm going to take their word over somebody down at the snack bar that doesn't have a clue what they're talking about. So it's time for everybody in the community to get on the same page and start saying, how can I help? We already have blacks, whites, Latinos, rich, poor, everybody working together, but we still have a small faction of people that are refusing to admit that we're going to be successful. Nobody thought we'd get this far. We are this far. The other thing I want to mention is that when we live in Belhaven in a small little town, we all talk to each other. We might run to Washington or Greenville, but we don't get away from here much. I don't think everybody understands that we are a national issue. Belhaven is nationally known. There are people in Seattle, Washington that know of us. They send me emails. I'm not making this up. There are people in San Francisco who have sent me emails. Okay, they're seeing us. Tonight at 10:30 on MSNBC, The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell, I will be on there talking about our hospital. Now, why does a national program with MSNBC want to talk about Belhaven? You know, we need to all realize that we have something going on here that's special and we all need to get behind. We are putting together a model that is going to be a national model. We have talked about that for months and months now. Tomorrow night, our business leader to this point is going to come in and explain how this new model is going to work. I'm not going to go through all of it and how it works because it would just get everybody lost. But we are about, and the federal government is allowing us to do some things that haven't been done before to see if it'll work in Belhaven, North Carolina. And I'm hoping that they'll call it the Belhaven model as it's used across the country. But people in Belhaven need to realize that we have something big going on here. The walk to Washington, D.C. has loosened up everybody to help us. The governor's liaison approached me right after the walk, came down and met with Mr. Julian, Dr. Boyette, and who else was it? I don't know who else met. There's three of them that met. Dick Ray. He came down and met with him to find out what was going on, and he told us that the governor is going to help us. The governor has told the Department of Commerce and the State Department of HHS that when we get this hospital back to come down here and help us all they can. That's from that walk. We have 3 congressmen in Washington, D.C. that are wanting to help us. They're talking about having a forum in Greenville to talk about our issue here. It's a big deal. We have HHS, federal, we're applying for a grant saying they're going to help us. You know, something that has kind of been overwhelmed by all the positive information is Health and Human Services sent us a letter 2 weeks ago letting us know that they completed what was basically a preliminary investigation to see if there was you know, reasonable cause for them to come in and do a full investigation. They sent us a letter 2 weeks ago and said, hey, we're going to do a full investigation. Vidant Health and the LLC are staring at a full investigation by the Justice Department. And you know why? Because they did things that aren't right. That's why. So once again, we all need to start working together. We all need to get in the same boat here and start working towards getting this hospital open. Because whether you believe it or not, the fact is people are dying. And there's more than one person that's died now. And you can't tell them directly, but there's more people in the community that have died. We had a lady off a boat that coming down the Intracoastal Waterway that went to the clinic to get some help. They couldn't help her. She didn't have any transportation. She went back to the boat, and the next morning she was dead. Okay? She probably wouldn't be dead if we had a hospital. I'll never forget in Washington, D.C., as we started our walk the last day to the Capitol from Reagan Airport, a man came up on a bicycle, on a 10-speed bicycle, and he stopped me. He said, are you the mayor? Are you the mayor? I said, yes, sir. He said, I wanted to come up and let you know that my dad was saved in your hospital. We went to the Outer Banks for vacation, and we came back and went through Belhaven. He had a heart attack, and that hospital actually saved my dad's life. So this hospital saves people that you don't even know and I don't even know. We don't have any idea all that goes on. But anyway, we've all got to start working together. And the time of division, the time of having pride to stand somewhere it doesn't make any sense, we need to all get past that stuff and start working together. So anyway, I'll move on to the town manager's report for nobody else.